For the first time in forever, I can actually make an early review of this. And this is the kind of chapters I like. Answers! A little bit. Some form of answers are all here. However, still though, we've gotten in the first flashback, and I'm still not feeling complete, or no, let's scratch that. I'm not feeling a single bit of pity for Big Mom yet. But I know by the end of this flashback, I probably will. Yes, this is the One Piece, chapter 866, and as I said in many reviewers, and I even have argued with someone else, I am not gonna give Big Mom the benefit of the doubt until it finally is proven I can give her the benefit of a doubt. Many compare this situation to the same of the Boa Hancock story. True, Boa Hancock was a jerk, and she did some morally questionable things, but in the end, Big Mom's situation is completely different. But now that we have argued about that, let's see about the chapter and talk about the answers that we have gotten in this one. First off, the flashback of the Cavendish story is still going, and yes, she was a... no, did I just say that? He was a prince in the Blue Joyce Kingdom, or whatever it's called. And he was so popular that no lady ever wanted to get married to anybody beside him. Well, I think we can see why Cavendish got such an ego about getting popular. Every single lady practically threw themselves at him. In essence, I think he was like a male Boa Hancock. The only exception is Cavendish liked all the attention, although he probably never was polite about it, but who knows. Still not answer how he got his separate personality. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. He's just not good with rejection. But now on to the past of Big Mom. Turns out that Big Mom, even as 5 years old, was extremely big. And here's the first answer. She wasn't a giant, or a half-giant for the matter, nor a giant that had a dwarf sickness, which I was hoping it was. No, Big Mom just was a naturally big human. I mean, big humans in One Piece is not that uncommon. But this is one of the first times it's actually commented on that she was big, even by big human standards. Her parents abandoned her at Elbaf, although unwillingly, surprisingly enough, because Big Mom rampaged through their country. They could no longer control her, so they left her at Elbaf, where the Holy Mother, which was Mother Caramel, could take care of them at Elbaf. And that's the first answer. Big Mom got to Elbaf because Mother Caramel had opened an orphanage there. And it's also revealed that Big Mom have had a craving for food ever since she was 5 years old. That's not natural. I mean, I know appetite. I have an unstoppable appetite too, but still, who knows? Either that Big Mom was left there, and then it's taken another story about the giant warrior pirates and something a bit strange. Did not expect this. We all know that Dory and Brogy happened in that duel 100 years ago, and they went missing on Little Garden, and the giant warrior pirate that spread chaos about the world was disbanded. However, that wasn't the true story. Some of the remnants were actually caught, their leaders were caught, and were to be executed by Marines. And here's the third thing. I still find it very strange that the giant warrior pirates caused chaos. I mean, true, they were pirates, but that single flashback when they were drinking and celebrating the Sea Kings, they were pretty chummy to that little girl. Were they really that chaotic? I mean, even this flashback gives us some benefit of the doubt that maybe the Elbaf warriors are warriors by birth, true, but they may not be as kind-hearted as we think they are. But still, why did they cause so much chaos? That's not answered. However, the ones who saved them from execution was none other than a young Mother Caramel, who was very beautiful, and she made a scene that surprisingly was just as effective as Luffy's execution, because she spoke to the Marines and begged them not to kill the Elbaf giants. When they protested saying that these giants caused chaos, she made a point by saying it's exactly why they cause chaos that you cannot execute them. Because if you execute these respectable warriors, then they will put revenge on humans, and no one wants a war again with the Elbath kingdom, the mightiest kingdom of them all. And so the heavens begins to pour as a little bit of sun open and shone down on Mother Caramel. Just like the Luffy scene. Well, not exactly like the Luffy scene, but almost like that. She became divine, so to speak. At that time, she became known as the Holy Mother and opened an orphanage at the Elbath, an orphanage that welcomed every single kind of child of many different races. This answered partially the second question. Why, despite Big Mom's so obvious evil personality, does she have a so-called utopia with all the different races? I mean, that's the one question that hasn't really been answered per se. I mean, do Big Mom really care for her subjects, or is everything just a game to her? I still believe this is just like a game. However, this flashback seems to hint that it's not just a game because she wants that, because the orphanage which she was left at accepted all the races. So the only reason why she wants to form Totland is because it reminds her of home. That's the reason, I believe, why Big Mom wants to accept all the races. Not for kindness, nor for everything else, just because she wants to feel home. And many different people were left there, including, they were noted about this, a prince that has been chased out of an overtuned country, and a child that was left as do a poetry. But so, of course, the Elbaf giants were all there. And Big Mom, or as Linlins she was known back then, for her, this felt like it right at home. It also turns out that she has talked like an Orre ever since she was 5 years old too. Makes me question if do every single Elbaf warrior, the females including, also talk like that? Well, who knows. Either way, Big Mom was had a very, I wouldn't say innocent personality. I mean, people argue you should forgive children, they are innocent. I say hell no. Don't get me wrong, you shouldn't spank a child, but what I'm saying is a child is not as innocent as you think they are. Many have eyes of evil. The only difference is, do they know the things are right and wrong, and can they learn from it? Or do they know wrong, but they just don't care? In Big Mom's case, it seemed to be she didn't know it was wrong, and no one scolded her for that. She killed a bear by accident when she wanted to lecture the bear of eating a wolf, and she killed that one with just one hit. And the thing is, Mother Caramel forgave her for that. In essence, Mother Caramel was, in Big Mom's eyes at least, the one and only person that understood her, which answered the third question. When Big Mom had her breakdown, she said, "No one here understands me." Because Mother Caramel forgave, well, Big Mom Linlin for everything, including, I repeat, one's broken arm from a giant Eri. I mean, that's also making me a little bit mad. Are you telling me Big Mom was strong even as a child? Why am I complaining about that? Because, well, that's only going to make a future defeat. Do not think she will be defeated here right now. It's too good to be true. But what I'm saying is, that's only going to make her defeat in a future all the more unacceptable. If she was so strong. Either that, but the way she tried to play with people was also dangerous. She once tried to remove a long-armed one, or remove a fin from a fishman, because she wanted to help. The only problem is, we all know that Big Mom was too powerful for that. But even though Mother Caramel told them that she couldn't do that, she also said to everyone, forgave her for everything. Every single thing. That's the problem, you know. And this answered a little bit like the fourth question. Big Mom is incredibly spoiled. Incredibly spoiled. And there has been an argument along theories that they believe Big Mom will be redeemed. And then there are people like me who says she's evil incarnate. But there's also this seems to hint that because Big Mom is incredibly childish. Even you theorists cannot deny that. She is incredibly childish. The only problem is she's psychotically childish. And as I said before, there's nothing more dangerous than one who has the mind of a child, yet the body of a giant, so to speak. That's extremely dangerous. So what do I mean by this answer to the fourth question? The fourth question is, Mother Caramel forgave her for everything she did. Basically, she spoiled her. So Big Mom technically did not know what was right and wrong. So because she was so spoiled and loved spoiled by Mother Caramel, it wouldn't surprise me if Big Mom, well, became childish just because of that. 2 months later, the giant accepted Linlin, and she even were friends with some kind of giant girl. I have a feeling that giant girl will become important. We also see Omi Okashi in this one, who says like 40 years are gone. If 10 more years pass, they will chase after them. And then later on, the preparations will happen. It turns out that the giants of Elbaf have a tradition. 12 days later, they will. No, in short, they will feast in 12 days in order to celebrate the Winter Solitude Festival. We also see Hydrin in this flashback, who, as a young warrior, trained to become strong because uh, uh, he wanted to resurrect the warriors. And here comes the strangest part of all. We see two elderly giants, perhaps they are the oldest warriors or the giants in existence. Waterfall beard Yururu, who was 344 years old, and mountain beard Yaruru, who was 345 years old. And this is the problem. It says the former captains of the giant warrior pirates. That caused me a little bit confusion. I mean, what? I thought Brogy and Dory were the captains. Maybe they have more captains than that. And here happens some nice things too. Once again, a Scandinavian note happens in this one, which I liked. They will eat one sweet from this before they feast, and that's a semla. You all know that, a bun with a cream and marzipan into it, and it's in order to also celebrate that the fact that, let's see now, is this 40 years? Wait, is they mention here that Prince Loki has been born at the same time as someone called Lord Goldberg. Why do I have a feeling that this Lord Goldberg is gonna be, important in the story? Either way, Prince Loki. How does that mean Prince Loki is 63 years old or something? I don't forget. Either way, Big Mom loved the semla, and of course she tried to feast, but she had a very difficult time doing it. And on the seventh day, Big Mom's illness kicked in, where she somehow defeated even grown giants. I mean, I'm just so pissed off at that. How could Big Mom have been this strong, even at 5 years old? It doesn't make any sense! Ugh. But yeah, this doesn't answer the last question, but it does mention that Big Mom now is confirmed to have had that illness, that eating disorder illness, ever since she was a child, which is also the real reason why she was exiled from her real country in the first place. Why? I mean, I'm just seriously asking, why did she have that illness? Either way, she craved a semla, and she destroyed the Elbaf village, craving it, defeating giants, and probably even killing them in the purpose, which Yororo condemned Linlin, because, well, she did not give thanks to the sun, and she caused so much sin. but because to Yororo, uh, Big Mom wasn't a child, she was a devil in the form of a child, which I agree with. In the end, that chapter ends like this, and this is probably a very long review because we need to talk. So, yeah, in the end, as I said, 4 questions were answered here. Now, I still don't feel any pity for Big Mom's past as of yet. In fact, if I feel pity, it's for the giants. How horrible to have their village destroyed. Still doesn't exactly answer why they were so chaotic on the sea. And yeah, as I said before, I do not accept the fact that that Charlotte Linlin was stronger than a full-blown giant as a child. Uda has made a mistake doing that because the why is that a mistake? Because let's just say, for argument's sake, Big Mom does get defeated in one future. Do you have any idea how many is gonna find that unacceptable? But also, it's a story about the giants. There's always an argument about just how strong are giants against normal humans, even fighter humans. Giants can defeat them non-stop, but against a devil fruit user, they are a living target. Big Mom was a big human, but she was not a devil fruit user at that time. But she had an unstoppable appetite and somehow was stronger than a grown giant, even as a child. For me, that just doesn't make sense. She was born stronger, as this chapter called, she was a natural born destroyer. In the end, though, does this answer a fifth question? Why the Elbaf giants hate Big Mom? Because she destroyed their village during the Thanking the Sun festival, so to speak. Maybe. But I hope the flashback will be resolved next week. Probably won't, but no, Mother Caramel begs Yororo not to kill Big Mom. Wonder what will happen. All in all, Mother Caramel seemed to be just like she was said to be. She was a saint and a kind-hearted person, even a friend to giants. But I think she was too kind for her own good. She spoiled Big Mom, and we all know what happened to that. All in all, this answers these 5 questions. What is to happen next? Who knows? This does also. Mother Caramel is old in this flashback, which probably means she is dead in the future. But give me your thoughts if you have any.